Okay, so you want to build a new ship, or maybe playing the abandoned mining station, you want to build your first ship. In either case, the limited amount of available resources is putting some urgency on this project. You need to get this thing flying fast. So the question is how to get from this to this in a reasonable time frame. Hello peeps, Drugger here with another little Space Haven tutorial. I actually streamed this build and I'm also going to reuse some of the stream's footage, but because I got sidetracked a lot and lots of stuff happened, the entire stream turned out to be 7-something hours long, which is not quite suited for a building guide video. Anyway, if you want to get the full experience in real time, I'll link it up here. But let's just focus on the key aspects for our project in this video. If you want to add another ship to your fleet, you need to get into a movable state as soon as possible to be able to continue resource gathering and the likes. Alterations can be made while the fleet is on the move, because nothing is worse than becoming a sitting duck when hostiles are incoming. Side note here, ships cannot perform hyper jumps if they have unconnected hull parts. Learned that the hard way, but makes sense of course. Regarding the abandoned mining station start, I suggest you finish your ship and rather focus on not leaving valuable resources behind in the station. I explained this a lot in past playthroughs, so I'll leave it out of this video. Needless to point out that for a new ship build, I would suggest a calm area. And you also want a big stockpile of building blocks and some energy, water and food reserves. Next, you need a plan for your ship, so I paused the game and drew out the hull and placement of specific facilities, which of course becomes easier once you played the game, because then you might have memorized the sizes and shapes of those facilities. Regarding the plan, here are some crucial aspects I want to point out. Placement of point defense turrets, they should be exactly in the middle of your ship. Then I like to make my ships as effective as possible, which can only be achieved if we keep our logistics as tight as possible. By reducing the distances stuff needs to be transported through our ship, we drastically reduce the time required to complete these tasks, ergo more completed tasks in a workday. Hyperdrives are a classic example here. They are in most cases built at the far rear of your ship, and because they hardly generate logistic tasks, this gives you the possibility to keep your crew in areas which generate lots of tasks. The same goes for facilities that just work and do not require our crew's attention too much. Prime examples are the auto turrets, solar panels, or stuff like the vapor gathering thing or the gas scrubber. As your Space Haven crew lacks any sense of urgency and keeps strolling everywhere, you want to make sure that that strolling time is used as effectively as possible. So I'd advise you to put facilities hardly requiring your crew's attention away from the busy facilities to really concentrate task generation on as small as possible area to reduce the time they stroll between tasks. As stuff needs to be moved in and out of your ship, the airlocks are always a very central spot, constantly attracting workforce, so put other very important facilities closer to them. Because of them always being busy, I want to have a big catch-all storage right next to the airlock. And then there is the risk of being boarded. To mitigate this threat, I like to build anti-boarding funnels, meaning as soon as the airlock opens, with our crew on their positions behind a cover object, they can fire straight into the airlock, and the ship's features force the incoming enemies to approach our position in a straight line, increasing our hit chance the closer the enemies get. So that is why the storage and this radar are in exactly these spots to create this straight pathway here. So naturally, you want your industry and food production close to the airlock, depending on your ship's role of course. Hangars, living area, medical and such do not really require close proximity to the airlock, so that is why I put them further away. Also, setting up your storage accordingly helps a lot. As you might have figured out by now, this thing is going to be a mining and hauling vessel primarily. So I decided to scrap any offensive capabilities, thus it only requires navigation, operations and shields, and a radar jammer will prevent it being targeted by baddies. Now in this role, the ship needs to generate steel plates, electronic components, hyperfuel and energy rods for the entire fleet. That is why the energy refinery and metal refinery are in those locations. How did I pick these locations, you ask? Okay, where do these facilities get their working materials from? Well, either the airlock or those ore processors. And where do they want to deliver their products to? Well, either the airlock or storage. Notice a pattern here? So in theory, this could be the entire path a resource unit has taken through all steps. Notice how close everything is to each other to save as much transport time as possible. Now, before we tackle such a build, I was making some changes to my port hangars because we want more builders to be available, and I wanted them closest to the one storage unit that is holding most of our hull blocks. I would suggest to have at least 2 builder ports. I went for 3 here because later when our mining vessel is built, it will also house 2 miner and 2 builder ports, so I abandoned the mining ports temporarily for them later to get claimed for our new vessel. Again, distance to the storage unit with the hull blocks inside is the key takeaway here. Now comes the fun part, speeding up the entire build process. A ship build consists of some essential steps which come up in a serial manner. You cannot build a power generator before a ship has its core. In order to build the core, your ship needs an airlock. So these are the required facilities with their associated block costs for this build. Once we gave the order for the airlock, we are one by one ordering our original ship or station to transfer the materials for the next item on our list over to our new ship. Whenever that transfer has finished, we issue the next one regardless of how our hull progression goes. Because, well, we have a catch-all storage, remember? In contrast, if we just start issuing build commands on the new vessel and then let these construction sites then request the required materials, then we are slowing down the process drastically. See that last point on our list? When we finish the last item transfer, we want to automate always having build material on the new vessel so we can place all the other stuff like thermal regulation and living area and such stuff as we please and already have at least partially building blocks available on our new ship. This also helps because our original home starts earlier running low on stuff, so our setup automation kicks in earlier and your industry is starting to produce that stuff sooner than they would have if they were waiting for a job requesting those materials. By doing all this, we basically are making the hull building, transfer and reproduction of build material work in parallel at the same time, instead to the usual building chain that works more in a serial manner. First demand is created, then it is transferred over, and then the original ship realizes, oh, we have to manufacture that stuff again. Meaning more tasks are issued in the same time frame and hopefully also finished, which again depends on how effective your layout is on the original ship or space station. The abandoned mining station is decent, but should you play that scenario, I strongly recommend to start with a smaller ship first and build your big ass rig later because of that reason. Now I hope you got some inspiration for your next playthrough. Should you not have considered all this, don't feel bad about it, not only because playing a game is supposed to be fun and you should be able to play as you like, but also because I'm really nerding out over such optimization stuff. It just comes to me naturally. In any case, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to hop over and check out my channel, and please don't forget to leave a like on the way out, because why would you still be watching if you didn't enjoy it? Thanks for watching and hope to catch you soon. Bye!